Hi guys, it's Kristie, creator of Soul Wellness, women's health coach, and
Paige, writer and astrologer at Healing Spaces.
And you're watching
Real Talk. So yeah, we are here to create a safe space for any of our listeners to come and get real, raw, and vulnerable about all things in life. We touch on such an array of subjects, and we really just aim to do it in an authentic way.
Yep. So if you're enjoying, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, follow.
Yes.
All of it.
Check.
Got it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about life.
Yeah, it's been a minute. We started out filming these episodes and set the intention and for ourselves to do 2 episodes a month. And we got to summer break specifically with our children this June, and that did not fit into the schedule.
All hell broke loose.
At all. Shit hit the fan, okay? Shit hit the fan. Even up until this morning,
Yeah.
shit's just been hitting the fan. And so, yeah, we really have just had to give ourselves some grace and allow ourselves to show up for the things that were prominent in our schedules at the time. And fortunately enough, that this was something that we were able to be more flexible with.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think it says a lot about where we come from, the intentions that we set for why we pushed off our episode. You know, we really talked a lot about practicing what we preach. And we had scheduled a Friday a few weeks back to get together and record a session. And I had a super overwhelming week. I was not in the headspace or had the emotional capacity to sit down and have an authentic conversation. I think I even told you, like, I could show up and talk for an hour, you know, 45 minutes about something, but it's just not going to come from a really grounded place.
Yeah. And that's not how we want to show up.
Yeah. And so then we just decided, like, okay, we're not going to record. We're just going to go to a local coffee shop and grab some coffee. And that's what we did.
Yeah.
We had a couple hours where we just had some coffee and relaxed and kind of caught up with each other. And that was such a relief, and I think gave both of us permission to be like, okay, we can be like, this is a space where it's like, we can be 100% honest about where we're at.
Yeah. And it be okay.
Yeah.
And I think also for our friendship, like, we don't want to just get together just to film these. It's like, we got to get together and have conversation, go get coffee, because we have so much going on in our lives. So I think that was really beneficial to make sure that we're nurturing our friendship as well as, like, ourselves individually.
Yeah, I think that that's, like, a really cool thing to bring up, too, because it's, like, especially when you have friendships that are more... that there is such a significant amount of depth to. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's our relationship we really want to nurture, and we really want to make sure that like, connection and the space is held for each other. Yeah. And so with that, it's really important to be able to, like, have that outside of more of this business-esque conversation and time together. So I think that's, like, a really, really good point to bring up, because it's been a whirlwind.
It has.
It's been a whirlwind.
It was, just crazy. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just going to say, I mean, and as is life, like, that, those are the things, like, we come on here on Real Talk to talk about real life, and sometimes life is so busy that
somebody's at my door.
So speaking of real life, sometimes real life comes knocking, literally at the door.
So I have no idea what you were saying, but I think we were just talking about our crazy schedules lately, and it did seem like things kept coming up or like, I mean, just like weird things like that. We needed this space to just go get coffee and relax. And then my kids got sick. I don't know. There was like a couple different things. And there was one moment where I was like, I have to wallow, because when you make plans, like put it in your calendar to make plans, and something comes up that is so, like, kids getting sick, so out of like your hand. There's literally nothing you can do. It can feel disappointing. And I was like kind of beating myself up for feeling so disappointed. And I just was like, you know what? I'm just going to wallow a little bit. And then I felt better. It was like just allowing myself to be like, I don't always have to be, you know, I'm giving a lot of women pep talks most of the time. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I just need to be like, I'm really pissed off that this didn't work out.
Yeah.
And just let those feelings in, and that itself made me feel better. And I even told you, I was like, I'm just going to wallow about this for a little bit, because sometimes we set intentions or plans and something happens. I mean, minor or big, that you can't control, and you can't ever change the circumstance, but you can change your thoughts and how you feel about the circumstance.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I just had to kind of let those feelings in, and then just work on kind of changing my thoughts and feelings so I could get back to, you know, reality in life.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and it makes sense, because we set expectations for ourselves. Mm-hmm. We set expectations for our schedules. We set expectations for our day. Every day we wake up and we make this plan. And and a lot of times, especially when you have kids, it doesn't go in that direction. And so I think it is really important for us to be able to recognize that and to let go of the expectation that we have on ourselves.
Yeah.
And when we get busy, it's so much healthier if we can experience those emotions, allow ourselves to wallow, or allow ourselves to be a little bit mad and angry and disappointed or sad, whatever it is that we need to feel so that we can move through it, rather than just getting stuck and giving up. You know, because I know that has been a pattern for me in the past, where it's like I would hit a certain point and I would just shame myself so much or feel so bad about the situation that I would just be like, I'm just done. Like, I'm just not going to do this. There's no point. Why keep trying when I keep getting knocked down? And I feel like now, because of the journeys that we've been on and like the toolkit that we've collected, it's like, okay, this is temporary.
Yeah.
This is temporary. Yeah. And we can just be honest. Like truthfully, we don't have to show up and be fake and like pull something out of our ass. No. We can just be like, hey guys, our lives are crazy. I'm sure yours are too. There's going to be times where you can't show up as well as you expect or as much as you expect. And like for us, we would rather wait and be able to show up 100% really well and give this conversation good quality, rather than just competing with the algorithm.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I really dislike that word. Like every time I hear that word, it's just like, it feels like a chain. It feels like a chain around your ankle and like around your passion, because it's like, we're not meant to feed a machine.
Yeah.
You know, we're meant to feed our souls. And I think that was the choice that we were making.
Yes, absolutely. And it can be really daunting. Like when you are, it's a beautiful time. We live in a time where we can start businesses and run businesses virtually and connect with women from all over the world. And it's so beautiful to have these resources. But there is a real chain sometimes that you can get dragged into when it comes to the algorithm and trying to stay relevant and keep up. Like, oh, if they don't see us posting every day, they're going to forget about us. And we, I think, work together to just be like, that's not the case. I mean, we don't want to feed into that. I believe that the people who are meant to hear this message are going to find the message.
Yes, 1,000%. I believe that. I've
shown a lot of legs.
Nice and cozy. But yeah, I think that there's so much to this notion of surrendering, surrendering to the universe. Like, it's like this universal energy, what we put out. And like, I think I made a post about this just the other day about like what we put out into the universe is what we will attract. Mm-hmm. And so I think for us, like the more authentic we can stay to ourselves, the more authentic, energy we will attract from those around us. Mm-hmm. And that's what we want, like that's what we want. We want to give that to others. And then it also allows them the freedom to like feel that for themselves. Like it's amazing when you can say something to someone around the notion of like, you don't actually have to say yes to everything. And people are like, what? That was me at one point in my life. I was like, that's an option? And it's like, yeah, no, like you're allowed to honor where you are and what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And if you give, a solid no to something that you don't have the capacity for, you're opening up the space for a really solid yes later on. That later on could honestly be 3 hours later. Yeah. That later on could be the next day. It doesn't mean it's going to be 6 months from now.
Yeah.
But it's like honoring where you're at in the moment is just super important, especially in the midst of crazy schedules, raising kids. I mean, your kids were sick. Presley was literally up all night last night. All right. And I was like, to refresh for this, took like an hour cat nap. Mm-hmm. And yeah, was like able to refresh myself enough to be like, hey, yeah, I can show up for this still.
Yeah. So, although I saw Presley, and I don't know that I believe that she was a ball of fire.
Dude, I'm telling you, this kid was up all night coughing, like croupy cough and wheeze.
Oh, poor thing.
And it's like sunshine comes, like hits the sky, and
she's ready.
Yeah, she turns into a freaking Spice Girl. I don't know what the hell happened. And I'm like, are you serious? Did I imagine this? The fact that we did not sleep at all last night?
Yeah.
But yeah, so hopefully she'll like, peter out and go to bed at like 7:30 tonight.
Yeah. I hope you have a better evening than last night. But yeah. No, I think it's just important to continue to practice what we preach and to kind of what you're saying about saying no. That's something that I, like, women, that's so new for women. And I think that is truly how you honor your body.
Yeah.
Because you can feel, you have a physical response when you're signing up to something you don't actually want to sign up for. And maybe you want to, but you just don't have the capacity yet. Like, every time that we've tried scheduling this, we want to, but the capacity hasn't been there.
Yeah.
But the more that you start practicing honoring that response and honoring your body, you will feel so much better and your body works with you. Like, there's just such a beautiful, when you are connected enough to listen to what your body is telling you, because there's communication happening all the time.
Yeah.
And when you can honor that, and it's just like, a muscle, you just have to keep practicing. Yeah. Even on like little things, just practicing to honor what your body is trying to tell you.
Yeah, our intuition is a muscle, and it gets stronger like the more that we use it. And I think too, another thing that's coming up for me now, just hearing you say that, is really honoring where you are and not comparing that to where somebody else is. Because I feel like even in this last month, we haven't necessarily been in the same space or had the same capacity for the same things in the same weeks.
Yeah.
So it was like 1 week I was really struggling. And then it was like the next week you were like struggling more when your kids were sick and like your schedule just kind of got flipped upside down.
Yeah.
And so it's not as if like we're on the same wavelength all the time. Even if we look at it seasonally or yearly, there's going to be seasons of your life. There's going to be years of your life. There's going to be moments that you need more time for isolation. You need more time for slow. And then there's going to be times where somebody else is like, has more of the capacity for social outings and go and do. That, like, comparing yourself to another person's experience, which kind of wraps into the online stuff is really easy to compare to that like FOMO feeling, or that, you know, I'm not enough, or why do I not have the capacity to give as much as that person is giving, or do as many fun things as this other person is doing. And I think that's where we really have to be mindful of listening to our own intuition, trusting our own intuition, because like, if not, that I know firsthand in my experience, like that internal language can get really loud, where it's like, I really don't have the capacity for this thing, but I'm afraid to miss out, you know?
Yes,
or
absolutely.
I see all of these other people doing all of this fun stuff, and I feel like, well, what's wrong with you that you don't have the energy for it? But we're all creating different things. We're all moving through different things at different times in our lives, different weeks, different days. And so I think, again, it comes back to being able to be present, to be in your body, to trust your intuition and trust yourself, but also like be able to honor it in a way that you're not shaming yourself or guilting yourself or comparing yourself to somebody else's experience.
That shame cycle can be super vicious, and it does take recognizing that to break yourself out of it, because listening to your intuition and that FOMO, that hits like a chord for me. I think I've always struggled with that, because I would be a person that would isolate myself and have FOMO, and then like resentment and jealousy and what is wrong with me? Why am I not enough? Why am I so tired? All these things. And like you said, we're all creating different things at different times. And creation, whenever we're creating or we're expanding, we're going to be tired.
Yeah.
And I have really kind of leaned into that and honored that. And it's like, anytime I'm really like creating or expanding and I get super excited about it, I crash.
Yeah.
And I have to honor that crash. But I used to get so depressed about the crash, and then I would be on the couch for 2 weeks, and it's,
yeah, it expands the crash.
Yeah.
The more energy
it turns into
behind it.
Something else.
Yeah.
No, I really liked how you said that.
Yeah. And I think, FOMO is such a real thing for so many people. Same for me. Like I have felt that, and so in so many different times in my life. And for me, it projected out before in ways to where it was like, I would just say yes to everything. Like I would just be like, yes, 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 yes. I was, always the hostess, always doing all of the things, like, okay, I'll host all the parties. Okay, I'll make sure I go to all the things. I'll do all the stuff. But I was just so numb inside. But like, then that like numbness obviously would turn into this spiral. And that spiral would then, turn into physical responses in my body, migraines, insomnia, like all that stuff. And so now it's like finding a balance, because I did have, a couple years there where I was going through a lot of major life changes. I was in and out of a lot of very heavy depression, and I didn't want to do anything. And so now it's like, I feel like this year for me has been trying to figure out my value system of that balance.
Yeah.
And so I think that when it comes to feeling like you're missing out on things, you really have to do a lot of internal work around like, what do I value? What do I have to give? And again, where am I at in this moment? Because it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. And social media makes it so much harder, because then you have constant access to what everybody else is doing. So then you constantly know what you're missing out on.
Yeah. Yeah. But how you said, how did you say that? Asking yourself what you value. It's getting curious.
Yeah.
Like when you are in kind of that spiral or feeling these feelings, just get curious about what that actually means or where they come from. Because a lot of times when I like prior to working through my healing journey, and it's obviously not always 100%, but I would project those things because I didn't value myself and I didn't have self-love for myself. And so it was like that resentment or jealousy or shaming myself. It was because of how I was just desperate for somebody else to give me validation and self-worth when really I had to learn how to give it to myself. So just getting curious in those moments to figure out where that comes from.
Yeah. Oh, I agree 100%. I mean, I literally have had to do that recently just in the last few weeks. Mm-hmm. You know, I have serious, I have serious insecurities about not being liked, and not in the sense of, not in the sense of necessarily caring about what other people think of me, but, not being liked in the sense of, feeling different than even the people closest to me. Mm. You know, it's this weird, it's going into a crowd of okay, I can go into a crowd of people and be at this point and feel pretty secure in who I am. But it's this notion of when I'm around people that I truly know deep down love me, it's this question mark goes off in my head. And it's so interesting because I feel for us, raising teenagers and preteens, that question mark still lives there from even when we're young. The people who say are your friends, the people who are your family, you know, all these people you surround yourself with, that insecurity starts around that age, I think, for women.
That's so true.
And it's this question of but do they really like me? And there's a difference for people loving you and then they love me because they're invested. You know, they've been invested for this long. They don't want to, oh God, I can't give up on her now. But that question mark of
I feel that.
Do they like me? Do they actually enjoy my presence? Are they oh my God, you know, again, you fall into those insecurities. You're too much, you know, or you're too this, or you're too that, or you're not enough of this. But I was reading the other day, somebody posted in my our astrology apprenticeship group. And it was this little clip, and I'm paraphrasing entirely, because I can't even tell you who this quote was by. But it was about the fact of when you start getting insecure in the work that you do or the work that you're putting out, you need to remember that you're one in the collective. And each person or each group, each person is just one. And all of the things that you're questioning about your work, and so I think that we can transition this into the things that we question about ourselves, you know, a question mark, or do they like me? You know, is my work good enough? You know, whatever it is, that can translate to many different things. But every single person, every single one that you're reaching or that you're in contact with is asking the same questions about themselves. Everybody has that question mark about something. And so then it's when we have those thoughts, and even when they start to feel really, really big, that's when we get the opportunity to get curious about ourselves so that we can overcome them. But then we also attain the humility to get curious about other people.
About other people, yeah. Because that's so true. You saying that, it was a great way to describe it, because I hadn't thought of it in that way. But yeah, it definitely, that age of the teenage years, and just, that is something that I struggle with. And you and I were opposite, where I struggled with it, and so I would just isolate myself, because then it was I could protect myself from getting my feelings hurt, I feel like.
Yeah.
But it was really just a lot of things that was going on in my head, and you were having the same thoughts about yourself.
Yeah.
The same questions.
But I just became a people pleaser on steroids.
And I became a hermit.
Now we're two girls on a couch.
Yeah, now we're just two girls on a couch. I don't know how that happened.
Talking about our feelings. What happened?
But yeah, that is very true. There's so many instances where what you're feeling in regards to how people view you or think of you, people are thinking the same thing about themselves.
Yeah.
And if we were just honest about that more,
yeah,
it would, like, people would be so less tense and awkward and stressed out.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? To walk into a room, and this is something that I've only started really trying to lean into, because, you know, Rudy, my husband, has kind of been like my crutch or whatever, where he is very good at like being outgoing, and he's just like a light. He just radiates light. But I started to decide I'm going to walk in first.
Yeah.
Because I would always like, no, you have to walk in first. Like, I want people to see you. I don't want people to be looking at me. And just being okay with myself to walk into a room first.
Yeah. And
just kind of like trying to tap into that. And it's really, really scary when you put yourself out there and just allow, I don't know, just putting yourself out there in general. But I've just been like just recently tapping into, I'm going to walk in first.
Or I love that for you. That's so wonderful.
At the very least, like, with my head held high, and not ask him to walk first, not try to hide, because he always tries to like open the door for me or whatever. I'm like, no, you go.
You go.
You find the seat or whatever it is. It's like, no, I can walk in first.
Yeah, take that initiative. I love that for you. That's so beautiful. And I think that it's really important to state the fact that is, okay, baby steps. Mm-hmm. Like, this doesn't have to be grand leaps and bounds. This can be very small baby steps towards honoring yourself in a different way.
Yeah.
And so it's bringing up, for me, this, an experience that I had over the weekend. We were at a birthday party, and I have seen, there was a woman there that I have seen in passing multiple times. Like, we live in a small town, and so it's like people kind of like know, like, you kind of know who someone is, but you don't know who someone is. And an experience that I think so many of us have as women is that we put our guard up. We put our guard up towards other women because it's like, we're just unsure, Yeah. And you kind of like make eye contact with people, or you kind of give a little smile, but you're just unsure of, whether or not,
what they think of you.
Like, what stories have they created about you? What have they heard about you?
Yeah.
Our mind runs wild with these stories. And so we were at this birthday party, and I saw this woman there that she's beautiful, this beautiful woman, and I have seen her on and off all over, but never have initiated conversation. And there was just this moment where we were like at the same place at the same time, and I was just like, you know what? Like, I'm like not going to play this weird game anymore that women play, to where it's like we go small, and then we don't engage with each other, and we just kind of like tiptoe around, and it's like, I don't know what she thinks about me, but I don't know what I think about her. And then you can let that story go on and on and on and turn into a story of, well, she doesn't like me.
Yes.
She gave me a dirty look.
Yeah.
Or, whatever.
Yes.
And so I just like walked up to her, and I was like, I have seen you on and off. I'm not sure if you know who I am, but I've seen you on and off, like, all over. My name is, this is how we would know each other. I just wanted to say hi. And we had like the sweetest little conversation, shared a laugh, and then like went on our merry way. But, like you were saying, like stepping into that power for yourself, leading into places in front of Rudy, like with your head held high, that was kind of like my parallel for this experience of like, you know what? Like, go say hi, just like open the door. It doesn't have to be this like comparison. It doesn't have to be the same patterns that we're used to. We don't have to dim ourselves to make someone else comfortable. And they don't have to dim themselves to make us comfortable. There's enough room for all of us to freaking shine. There's plenty of it.
I love that so much, because me literally walking in behind Rudy is me literally dimming my light to not yeah, to make other people comfortable, to make sure that maybe they'll like me if that's a possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. And I love that story.
Yeah, I mean, I just, like, it's funny how, like, that, like, parallel kind of came together in two different ways. Yeah, on the same weekend. Same weekend, same party.
Yeah, that is, oh, shoot, what was I going to say? I was going to say something, but, so, like, with your experience and, like, because we have all experienced that.
Yeah.
With women, and it's always just a story that we're creating in ourselves, and for you to take that step. But a lot of times I think when we do have that experience where we're kind of, like, encountering the same person in different areas, and I don't know the story, but there's normally a reason for that.
Yeah.
There could be a relationship that's supposed to build or something. I always think that that's really interesting, like, when you keep encountering the same person that you really don't know, and you might be worried that they have ideas about you or whatever the situation is. I start to wonder, there's a reason for our paths to be crossing, and maybe it's that simple conversation, so you both feel, oh, we don't know each other, but we don't dislike each other.
This doesn't have to be weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
we make it so weird.
Yeah. And I think that's, like, our conditioning, too. Like, as we grow up, that whole notion of, like, oh, she's just jealous of you.
Yes.
Like, some girl looked at me funny at school. Oh, she's just jealous of you. No, maybe she just had a stomachache. I don't know. Yeah, or she was having an off day, or she felt uncomfortable, or whatever. It doesn't have to be, like, it doesn't have to be weird.
Yeah.
And so I think that it's really powerful if we just, like, I don't know, own it. Because, again, most of the time, we're all having these same experiences. We're all feeling these insecurities. We're all, walking around with that question mark.
Yeah.
And some people wear it better than others. There's been times in my life where I have worn that question mark so well. And people will be like, I had no idea you were so insecure. Yeah. But it doesn't mean it wasn't there. It doesn't mean that it wasn't valid. It was just I was in a space where I could hide it a little bit better. And I think as we have progressed in our journeys separately together and in these conversations, it's like what we talk about here in this space, this is like, going back to the beginning of this conversation, we live with and do our best to live with that same intention out in real life.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I think that's what makes this so safe is because it's just like, okay, yeah, like we're not bullshitting you.
Yeah, it's real.
Like it's real. Like these are real experiences that have happened in the last few days in our life. And, we don't have it all figured out. We don't have all the answers, but we're really trying to learn.
Getting curious, just what I always go back to, just getting curious about situations and about ourselves.
It's Gemini season, man. It's all we need is a little bit of curiosity. Go out there and have some fun and start some communication. And just like let your light shine. I think it's so important. One thing that you said earlier when you were talking about like holding your head up high, that's something I've tried to be really mindful of. Just in the last like year is really when I am out in public, holding my head up high and making eye contact with people, even if it's strangers. You don't have to make small talk, but you can just like smile at them.
Yes.
But like, I remember there were so many years of my life where it was just like, look down at the ground, pretend like you don't see anybody, and it's just like, you never really know how much a smile to a stranger or from a stranger can really like change your day.
Yeah. I know. Or just like, a good morning. Breen, this is like a whole different topic, but just you saying that, it sometimes makes me sad because I'll be in the grocery store, down in Lafayette, and everybody has like AirPods in or headphones in.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just kind of like look around like, I keep saying like, but how disconnected we are, and we're so used to just avoiding people or not even trying to smile or say hi to a stranger. So
I think that is another one of those like shadow sides to technology.
Yeah, just kind of isolating yourself even more. You never know who you could run into with the.
I also feel like it's extremely unsafe. I'm just saying. Like,
I would not be able to do that. Yeah.
You need to be vigilant.
Yes.
Especially as a young woman.
Yes. Like, I have been targeted at a store. One of the scariest things in my life. I will never, ever have headphones on.
Yeah.
Store.
You
but
need to be vigilant so that you know.
You need to know your surroundings.
What's going on. But yeah, it is. It's like one of those shadow sides to technology again, because it's like this disconnection of human connection.
Yeah.
And that's what we need. That's one of the vital things that we need to survive. And so I think it's super important, especially for women, because that is a lot of our focus. We, as a society, have become so isolated from each other that we create assumptions and stories and judgments and walls. And I feel like there's a real turning of the tide happening in the world, especially in people around us. Like, the more women that start doing the work and start uncovering their self-worth and loving themselves with this unconditional ferocity. You know, it's like this ferocious love, fierce love that I want to give myself, and I want to be bold about it. And I feel like that is happening for a lot of women. And I think that that's going to be really powerful for women to really start reconnecting.
Yeah, I love that, because human connection, it's so important. And we have definitely been living in a society that is isolated.
Yeah.
And there's been different instances in my life where I've been in a room of women and magic happens. It's so powerful. And so if we can just lean more into that and, like you said, stop these assumptions and stories and just view people as people.
Yeah.
Just another human that's struggling, has the same insecurities as you.
Having an experience here in this life. And like, part of what has also like kept both of us so busy, you are a part of an online community. You have created an online community, but you're also like, you work with another platform, an online community. Yes. I myself am involved with an online community through astrology. And when we connect with these women in these groups, like you were saying, magic happens.
That's so beautiful.
Granted, empowered side of technology. We're able to connect with women all across the world. And I think that, too, is helping us build a bridge to connect with the people here locally as well.
Yes.
The more that we feel that, like, closeness, it's like, oh, my gosh, like, we can actually have this.
Yeah, I want this in person.
In my life on a regular basis.
Yes.
And so I think that, too, again, like, the more that we can spread that and put that out there, it will open that up for more and more women that encounter, whether it's these videos or whether it's us on the street or whether it's us in our work, that we're able to unlock that and to really trust the power of it. And even when life gets in the way, it's like, yeah, like, I don't know. We're not on any form of pedestal. We're just trying to create conversation around what real life looks like and how real life can be different. It doesn't have to be the story that we've been sold.
Yeah.
And
how much even though we have different experiences, how much we are alike. I think if we saw people in that way, that they are like us, like we said, that they struggle and have insecurities and, experiences, that just makes it a little more comforting.
Yeah.
Like, you truly are not alone.
Yeah.
There are people out there, and they could be your next door neighbor. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. And it changes things for future generations. And it also changes things for past generations. I'm a big believer in generational trauma and generational experience. And so we carry this lineage from our past. And especially, it's extremely profound for women. And as we heal in this life, we heal the lineage of our past, the generations of past, as we create something new and create healing for generations moving forward. And so I think that every time I get into those like a situation that makes me uncomfortable, or I want to dim my light, or, you know, I could start making assumptions or creating stories towards another woman, I really think about how would I want to guide Macy or Presley through this situation?
Yeah, I love that.
How would I want to guide them through this differently so that they may not have as many harsh experiences? They're going to have harsh experiences, but maybe they don't have to have quite as many. And what can we do to set a different precedent for their lives moving forward? Because, I think that's super important.
That's beautiful.
I think that's super important.
I love that.
Yeah. And I think that, too, we have to really, I feel like we say this all the time. I feel like we say this in so many conversations. So much of it comes back to the work within ourselves, the baby steps that we take to find that love, to find our value, to, you know, uncover, because it's all there. It's all within us. The answers are within us. Free will is the ultimate, the ultimate gift. And so we have this choice to find that love and find that value and that worth within us and express that in new ways. And so as we do that, it all starts with, setting our intentions for how we want to live and having good discernment.
Yeah, because you always deserve to feel differently. If you don't feel good right now, or you feel lonely or isolated or unhappy, you deserve to feel differently, and you can create that. Like, you can create the feeling that you want to have because you deserve that. And I think a lot of times we don't know that. We think this is just as good as it's going to get. This is just it. We're stuck in this cycle, whether generational, wherever it comes from. But really, truly, you deserve to feel differently.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's up?
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. And I think that, again, coming back full circle, we choose to live with the intention of practicing what we preach.
It's going to be the title.
Practice what you preach. And and that is why we had to take a beat.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the thing. We took a beat. The world didn't crash.
It did not.
It did not come crashing down because...
Although I thought we were special enough, but...
I know. Oh my gosh, why not? Why wasn't there like 100 messages in our inbox? Where have you guys been? We've missed you so much.
We're dying
without your conversations. I mean, that's the thing. We took a beat. We honored where we were in the moment, and we allowed this conversation to come organically and authentically. And it wouldn't be the conversation that it is without that time and without that space. And so I think we have decided that for the month of July as well, we're only going to be doing one episode because...
Yeah, July is... We have fair and...
Yeah. Kids, we got like birthdays and holidays and businesses, and I will be wrapping up my astrology program, and fair. So
much. So, one episode for summer is just realistic.
Yeah.
So,
well, and then hopefully be able to get back to 2 in August once our kids are back in school. Because we want, like I said, we want to be able to show up for you guys. We want to show up for you in a profound way and not just a check the box. We're not trying to check boxes here. We're trying really, there's enough boxes in our life that we have to check. Yeah. Kids, they're fed. Kids, they're still breathing. We're checking those boxes, the boxes that we have to check. When it comes to this stuff, again, it's very intuitive for both of us, I feel like. And so we have to honor that.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it.
I do too.
And with that being said, if there's something you guys want us to talk about, or you need to work through something, or advice, or story you want to share, our DMs are open. or if you know how to get a hold of us. Anyway, we are open to that because we want it to be a collective collaboration and make sure that we are, I don't know, delivering a message that you seek or that you really need. So we are open.
Yeah, for sure. And, we share these conversations so that you guys can also, so that you guys can feel seen and heard. Mm-hmm. And so that we may be of service through our experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, please reach out. Do not hesitate. It's all confidential. We're also not going to come on here and be like, so-and-so asked this question or told this story. We're not about that.
No. That is a good point.
I know. People are like, I am not that. They're going to blast my shit all over that YouTube. No. The only shit we're blasting is our own.
Yeah. Yeah. Have no fear.
But, and so please make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, send us any feedback, and share with us what you enjoy, what you find interesting, what you want to hear more about, because like I said, we want this to be a safe space for all of us. So, and thank you as always for being here and listening. And thank you for all the wonderful wisdom and stories that you share, for shining your light.
Thank you. I actually, when we got there and you weren't there, I had the thought, I was like, she would be so proud of me right now. If she saw me walking with confidence and just really just trying to be myself, as weird as that sounds, because I'm so used to, making myself small.
Yeah, no, I love that for you. And I will share this because you brought this up, but it was so wonderful, which I feel like we could get into this in a later episode, but obviously, I've been a part of you and Rudy's relationship, the OG Three Musketeers. Yep. What was us in the beginning, and so being a part of your guys' relationship, and witnessing it from the very, very beginning.
Yeah, literally
the very beginning. But watching you two together and seeing you guys. It was so beautiful. I was sitting there at the table at one point, and you guys were walking off together and just being super playful and cute. And I was just like, oh my gosh. Oh, yeah. So it was just I don't know, I feel like a full growth moment for all of us. And you guys were just really shining, and it was super cute and adorable. Aww, so thank you. Shout out to you guys for just I don't know. Yeah. Because in the past, it's Rudy,
Rudy's the star of the show.
Love him. He just shines his sweet, sweet light.
He is.
But it was really cool to see you shining yours just as brightly next to him.
Yeah. So, Thank you for saying that. Yeah. One of the things that I guess we didn't mention was why things were getting rescheduled. We also celebrated our 10-year wedding anniversary. Yay. So we'll have to talk about the progression of that relationship.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
It is. It's a good story. It's a real good story. That's when we need to remake that picture.
Yes.
When you release that episode. To
be continued.
To be continued. Yes, thank you. To be continued.
Thanks for being here. Make sure you go follow me at A Strong Soul Wellness, Paige at Our Healing Spaces.
Yes. We love you guys. Mwah.